Hey, you, my brother on the other side of the screen. I need you to stop everything you are doing right now. Do not let your finger scroll even one more inch down your feed. Do not take your eyes off this moment. And absolutely do not think that this video appearing while you are sitting in a Starbucks in Seattle or pulling your car over on a highway in Texas is just a random coincidence created by a social media algorithm. This universe does not operate on the dry lines of code written in Silicon Valley. It operates on prearranged appointments that were set long before you were born. And this is your appointment. Listen very carefully, because a massive spiritual shift has just occurred in the heavens. And the source of that spiritual earthquake is you. About 3 hours ago, maybe 4, right where you are living here in the United States, you made a choice. It was a small decision. It lasted only 5 seconds. There were no cameras recording it. There was no Instagram post announcing it. The world kept spinning, and no one around you noticed a thing. You almost did not do it. You almost let the old ego take over. But in the end, you chose differently. And in that invisible yet powerful moment, the Almighty leaned forward on his throne, not because of the specific action you took, but because of the great person you are beginning to become. God saw you choose a different path this afternoon. You felt that old familiar pull, did you not? That urge to explode, to respond, to prove that you were right at any cost, or to cling to a toxic habit for comfort. But this time, you stood still. You chose silence instead of shouting. You just broke a pattern, a system loop that had been controlling your life for decades. And that disciplined silence officially canceled a dark contract, a spiritual imposition that had been following you since childhood in the suburbs. Right now, if you listen to your body, you will feel undeniable evidence. Your shoulders feel as if dozens of pounds have been lifted since this morning. Your breathing has become deeper. There is a strange lightness spreading through your heart that logic cannot explain. That is not random. That is physical proof of a spiritual transaction that has just been completed successfully. Heaven does not celebrate with loud trumpets. It responds with a quiet, deep, proud approval. Because what you just did was not for applause from the world. You did it for God. And God recorded everything. Your assigned guardian angels have just received new orders. Your enemy is scrambling to recalculate strategies because you suddenly changed coordinates on the map of destiny. Even generations from now, children not yet born will walk into rooms filled with favor because of the silent decision you made today. But you must understand this clearly. You are not here by accident at this moment. The universe interrupted your thoughts because God wants you to understand what you just unlocked. Before doubt creeps in and whispers, "That was not important." You need to hear what truly happened in the unseen realm. You need to know why every step you took through the last 3 difficult years suddenly carries meaning. This is not just encouragement. This is a destiny marker in time. Years from now, you will look back at standing on this street corner or sitting in this apartment as the hinge point where your life pivoted in an entirely new direction. Not because of what you are about to do, but because of what you have already done. Let your mind settle into this space. Release the noise of the outside world and receive what is about to be revealed. Because God's smile over you right now is not just satisfaction. It carries a shocking secret about what is about to unfold for you in the next 40 days. And it all began with a moment in the throne room you cannot imagine. I know you are wondering right now what could possibly cause all of heaven to tremble over an action you considered insignificant. Let me pull back the curtain and show you what really happened. At the exact moment you made that choice, whether in a corner office in Chicago or behind the steering wheel of an SUV parked on the side of the road, you were not alone. There were witnesses watching from another dimension. The courts of heaven suddenly fell silent. Angelic armies that had been immersed in songs of worship stopped at once. They turned their attention toward earth, toward you. All of heaven focused on a decision that lasted less than 5 seconds. And then God laughed. Not a polite smile. A deep, joyful laughter echoed throughout the throne room. It was the laughter of a father watching his child finally understand. The laughter that comes when someone who has stumbled for years suddenly grasps the lesson. When the child chooses the right path without being forced or reminded. The angels looked at one another in confusion. They asked, "What did this human just do? What could make our Father laugh like this?" Then they saw it. They saw the massive barrier you pushed back with everything inside you. They saw your old self screaming for control. The version of you that always reacted, defended, and protected a wounded ego. They also saw your new self, a warrior of stillness, a person who chose to stand unmoved in the storm. They witnessed a brutal internal battle unfold in just 5 seconds. And they understood something profound. You won a battle the world will never see. No headlines will be written. No music will be composed. No award will be handed to you tonight. But heaven recorded it all. In the book that chronicles silent faithfulness, a new page was turned. And that page carries enormous spiritual weight. There is a truth we often hear, that heaven rejoices when a lost soul returns. But this goes deeper. Every time you turn away from your old nature, every time you choose light instead of darkness, every time you obey quietly at the cost of pride or temporary comfort, heaven responds, "Today, you turned." And heaven is celebrating. But there is something else you did not know. What made God laugh was not only what you did, it was when you did it. You chose obedience at the exact moment darkness had prepared a perfect trap for you. Your decision interrupted their timeline. That interruption triggered a chain reaction I am about to explain. Your action may have felt small. Maybe you stayed silent when a coworker mocked you in Manhattan. Maybe you forgave a family member without receiving an apology. Maybe you took one more step forward when your entire body wanted to quit. You know the moment. Your soul is confirming it right now. Remember the hesitation before you acted. How heavy it felt, as if an invisible force was pressing down with crushing weight. That hesitation was not weakness. That was the battlefield. There was intense spiritual resistance surrounding you, trying to lock you into old habits. It may have happened at 3 in the afternoon in Los Angeles traffic, or before sunrise while the city slept. The location does not matter. The cost does. You paid with the satisfaction of being right. You paid with the comfort of saying everything you wanted to say. You obeyed in the dark, and heaven records secret obedience differently than public displays. Its reward carries greater weight. Heaven does not measure impact by size. It measures impact by faithfulness. You were faithful in something small. But in the economy of heaven, obedience in the hardest moments carries massive value. That resistance felt stronger than usual because something wanted to stop your elevation. For years, a voice has whispered to you, "It is not enough. It is too small. Anyone could do that." That voice is deception. Its strategy is to blind you to your own growth, to keep you focused on what you have not done instead of how far you have come. Because if you do not recognize your progress, you will never have the confidence to step into what is next. But today, that wound is closing. You broke the pattern. And when you broke it, you awakened something that has been dormant for 3 years. The moment you made that choice, 3 immediate reactions were released from heaven. And the third reaction is why you feel an unexplainable peace flowing through you right now. Even though nothing external has changed yet, do not look away. Because what I am about to reveal about the first reaction, about the angels dispatched to escort you, will completely change how you see the next 40 days of your life. You proved you can be trusted with small things. Now heaven is preparing to hand you keys to doors you thought were rusted shut forever. Fasten your spiritual seatbelt, because we are moving into the center of this positive storm. You need to understand this clearly. The moment you made that choice, it was not only smiles and approval that followed. A precise spiritual system activated with surgical accuracy. The instant you chose stillness, the instant you chose obedience in the dark, whether inside an apartment in Manhattan or in a busy office in Dallas, 3 chain reactions were released simultaneously in heaven. This is not metaphor. This is how the kingdom actually functions. The first reaction happened immediately. An emergency deployment order was issued. Your guardian angels were dispatched. But listen carefully. These were not the angels you normally imagine. There is a specialized class of angels assigned to cases like yours. From the moment you were born in a small town in Ohio or a suburb of Georgia, spiritual beings have watched over you. But their level of intervention is directly tied to your obedience. When you followed your old nature, they had to step back. But today, when you broke that pattern, an authorization seal was stamped from the throne. Angels previously assigned elsewhere were instantly reassigned to you. Why? Because you proved to the entire universe that you are ready for greater responsibility. These angels carry specialized functions. Some are assigned to financial alignment, some to destiny connections, some to absolute protection. They have been briefed on what is about to unfold in your life, on doors about to open in places you never imagined, and they now have full authority to act on your behalf. The second reaction was tactical. A counter-recall order. Darkness had a detailed strategy prepared against you. They studied your patterns for years. They knew your fears. They knew your childhood wounds. They had scheduled an attack, a trap meant to break you within the next 48 hours. But when you made that unexpected choice, you changed your coordinates on the spiritual map. The enemy operates on behavioral algorithms. If you always react with pattern A to problem B, they plan accordingly. But today, you disrupted their algorithm. You became unpredictable. That unpredictability caused panic and confusion within their ranks. A recall order was issued. The attack was not delayed. It was canceled. Because the conditions required to execute it no longer exist. You altered the environment. This does not mean the enemy has surrendered forever. but you just purchased precious time, a spiritual blind spot. For the next 40 days, they will not be able to track you as before. Their traps will malfunction. Their arrows will miss, because you are now operating at a frequency they did not prepare for. The third reaction is the one that will leave you speechless. Your time trajectory has shifted. I know this sounds abstract, so let me explain it like a pilot. Your life is not random events. It follows a flight path. Every major decision adjusts the coordinates. Today, you adjusted your heading by only 15 degrees. That sounds small. But over time, 15 degrees creates massive distance. Imagine a plane departing from JFK Airport in New York. If the pilot adjusts course by only a few degrees at takeoff, the plane will not land in London. It will land in Madrid or Paris. You just made a historic course correction. Your final destination has changed. Things that once required 10 years may now take months. Doors rusted shut for decades will begin to open smoothly. But there is something crucial you must remember. This shift does not affect only you. It spills over onto those connected to you. Your silent obedience today became a breakthrough gateway for others. You unlocked a treasury in heaven with your name on it. Something that has waited for this alignment for a long time. Now, you may ask, why now? Why January 2026? Why not last year? Why not next month? The answer is prophetic timing. This month is not ordinary. It is a threshold, a season of separation, a time when God distinguishes the serious from the curious. Every delay and disappointment of the last 3 years was training. Your decision today was the final exam. You passed. Now a 40-day window has opened. But prepare yourself. What is being released is not ordinary blessing. It is something deeper, spiritual authority, an invisible force that will change how the world responds to you. And this authority will manifest in the coming days. Listen carefully. What was just released into your life is not a physical gift you can hold or display on social media. What you received is spiritual authority. Let me explain it this way. For years, you stood in front of doors of opportunity, doors of promotion, doors of destiny, relationships. You knocked until your knuckles bled. You shouted until your voice went hoarse, and the doors did not move. You assumed you were not good enough, not lucky enough, or somehow cursed. But the truth is simpler. You did not yet have the correct key. Today, because you chose obedience in secret, heaven officially handed you that key. Some of you received the key of opportunity. Doors that remained sealed for 10 years at Wall Street firms or creative projects in Silicon Valley will suddenly open when you approach. Not because you tried harder, but because you now carry authority to open them. Some of you received the sword of truth. From this moment forward, your words will carry unusual weight. When you speak, the atmosphere in the room will shift. Those who manipulate or accuse will suddenly grow quiet in your presence. And some of you received a scroll of direction. For years, you wandered in fog, unsure which path to take at age 35 or 45. But starting tonight, the fog lifts. God will not give you the entire journey. He will give you the next precise step. You will feel a sharp clarity, an instinct you thought belonged only to geniuses. Within the next 7 days, you will notice these effects intensifying. Conversations will shift. A difficult manager will soften without explanation. A business partner who rejected you will return with a better offer. Do not be surprised. Your frequency has changed. You are no longer emitting the signal of someone begging. You are emitting the signal of someone carrying kingdom authority. People may not understand it logically, but their souls will sense the invisible crown on your head. You have been upgraded, and the world will adjust. This shift is the foundation of tomorrow invading today. You are no longer in survival mode. You have entered conquest mode. Everything you touch will now carry a different imprint. But this authority does not stop with personal empowerment. It generates momentum in your environment, especially in areas where you believed you had failed permanently. Now, let us talk about how the physical world responds to your frequency shift. Everything in creation operates by rhythm. Sound has frequency, light has frequency, and obedience has frequency. When you broke the old pattern, you lifted your vibration from fear to faith. And this is when the law of momentum activates. Do you know why the first step always feels the heaviest? Because you are fighting the inertia of an entire past. But the moment you made that 5-second choice today, you broke stillness. The second step becomes easier. By the 10th step, you no longer strain. Momentum carries you. Your only assignment for the next 40 days is to protect that momentum. Do not let negative news cycles or cynical voices disrupt your rhythm. Watch children and animals around you in the coming days. You will notice something unusual. They will want to be near you. Why? Because children and animals are sensitive to spiritual atmosphere. They feel peace and light without logic. On the other hand, those carrying jealousy or darkness will feel uncomfortable near you. They may avoid you or mock you without knowing why. Do not be discouraged. It is frequency mismatch. Your light is exposing shadows, and that is confirmation you are aligned. In these 40 days, 4 major dominoes will begin to fall in your favor. First is finances. Do not expect money to fall from the sky. It will arrive through sealed leaks. You earned money before but could not retain it. Opportunities came and vanished. That was caused by old internal breaches. Today, those breaches were sealed. Pay attention to ideas that surface while you shower or drive. That is provision. Second is relationships. God is purifying your circle. Energy drainers will exit. Destiny connections will enter. Do not cling to what is leaving. He is preparing aligned partners for what is ahead. Third is health. Chronic exhaustion and heaviness were spiritual conditions. When you released bitterness and control today, your nervous system reset. You will sleep deeper. Your skin will brighten. Your mind will sharpen. And finally, calling activation. You will no longer ask who you are. Clarity will arrive like summer rain. My brother, we have now reached the final stretch of this destiny message. What you have experienced over the past hour was not a sermon. It was a silent ordination. The universe witnessed your faithfulness in private, and now God is preparing to reward you publicly. But understand this: the greatest reward is not money. It is not fame. It is the restoration of your position as a true chosen one. You are no longer a victim of circumstances. You are no longer running from the fires of your past. You are a warrior advancing toward the throne. Every trial of the last 3 years, every tear soaked into your pillow at 2 in the morning, every betrayal, every moment of emptiness in your wallet, they were all endurance tests for your spiritual armor. And today, you passed the final test with that 5-second choice. God smiled. And when God smiles, every power of darkness retreats. Here is your final warning. Within the next 48 hours, the enemy will send a counterfeit. It will look like an urgent opportunity. It will feel pressured. It will demand an immediate decision. Remember this rule. The voice of God brings peace and stability. The voice of darkness brings urgency and anxiety. If something makes you feel suffocated, choose courage and say no. Do not allow anything to pull you out of the high frequency you just entered. From this moment forward, walk with your head held high. Do not lower your gaze to the debris of old memories. Lift your eyes to the horizon. The sun of tomorrow is already rising to meet you. You have exited the waiting room of your life. You have been released from the shadow of doubt. Your guardian angels are standing at attention, awaiting orders from your next acts of faith. The next 40 days will redefine your name in the chronicles of heaven. You are not alone. You are not weak. And you are certainly not forgotten. The Almighty is covering you under His wings. The milk and honey of the promised land are already beneath your feet. Move forward. Claim what belongs to you. And never look back. Everything has been completed. You are free. My brother, as my voice comes to a close, take one deep breath. Feel your own presence. What you just heard was not a fairy tale. It was a map to the greatest chapter of your life. The deeper meaning of this journey is simple. Every small decision you make carries eternal weight. The universe does not judge you by what you display publicly. It measures you by how you face yourself in the dark. When you choose silence over retaliation, when you choose forgiveness over hatred, you step onto the throne of spiritual authority. Here is the lesson for all of us. Never underestimate 5-second moments. They are the hinges on which destiny turns. The past may be a prison, but the key is always in your hand right now. You do not need to be perfect to begin. You only need to be faithful to continue. When you change your frequency, the world must adjust. You were chosen to be light. So shine. Tomorrow already belongs to you. I honor you for staying until the end of this message. Your feedback helps guide this mission. If this video strengthened you, comment the number 1. If it did not resonate and needs improvement, comment the number 0. Or leave your thoughts below. I read every message. And do not forget to subscribe and turn on notifications. Your support allows me to continue delivering messages like this. Thank you, chosen one. Peace and favor will lead your path.